Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm Heidi Smith, I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the United Kingdom. And today I just thought I'd bring you a quick project using some products which will be disappearing soon, namely the Dress to Impress stamp set and coordinating dies. Now these will be disappearing with the end of the annual catalogue, so that's at the end of April. And it's a really lovely stamp set that I have to say won't be disappearing from my stash anytime soon. Not only do you have these fabulous feminine objects, but you've also got this lovely die that creates a little handbag, and dies that cut out the sentiments as well in this. So I think it's a great stamp set. And what I'm doing is creating this card here using the Dress to Impress and also the New Horizons DSP. Absolutely beautiful DSP this, and I'm using it in a way, you know, a lot of it is based on scenery, as you can see, but you've got gorgeous sort of like salt effect images on the back, sort of watercolour and movement, and just absolutely beautiful colours. And you can see here all the sort of lovely polished pink and blackberry bliss, along with, oh gosh, pale papaya. We've got some evening evergreen in there as well. You can see those sort of deep colours, and they do make stunning pictures. You know, in this one you can imagine with the sailing home images on the front there. Some of our other sort of builders, I tend not to use them myself, but I love these papers. Absolutely beautiful. So yes, loads and loads of colours in there anyway, but I've just picked out just a few in there. Misty Moonlight's in there, which is obviously another retiring in colour, so grab it while you can. It's 6x6 paper, and you've got 4 each of those 12 designs. So in this card's, you know, relatively simple card, just a nice bit of layout. I've added a bit of texture here with the textile embossing folder, and that's another one that's retiring. So yeah, great to get it while you can. So to start off with, we're going to start off with a simple card base, which is 14.5 by 21, and that's just scored at 10.5. And then we've got some 14 by 10 basic white to go in there. It's a photopolymer stamp set, so I'm getting my Stampin' Pierce mat out. In terms of layers, I thought I'd go with some fresh freesia and a bit of Highland heather, and then add in this lovely one that's got the kind of blackberry bliss sort of tones in it as well. And then I'm going to add an accent of polished pink on there with some basic white as well. So my basic white, so that's the 3.25 by 3.25. So that's about sort of, yeah, 8 centimetres by 8 centimetres. This layer is 8.5 by 8.5. This is 7 by 10.5 centimetres. So you're going to get at least 2 out of those. And then this is 7.5 by 10.5 as well. So a few bits and pieces to do. So we've got add some texture with our texture 3D folder, which you can see here. It is a 3D folder, so you just need to remember to make sure you pop that through the correct sandwich. Don't force your big shot. Just pop that through. If you've got a cut and emboss machine, it tells you the layers on the bottom, so it's really easy to follow. It does fit in the standard cut and emboss, not the mini. Obviously it's one of those wider folders, or if you've got a big shot, you just need to make sure you use the right adapter plate for that. And I just think it just adds a little bit extra to our cards when you can add a little bit of embossing. It's something that, you know, I go through spells of embossing and not, and I probably ought to, because I love the effect. It's one of the things that my first Cuttlebug, in fact, I loved about it, just adding that texture so easily to a card. And I'm just popping that up there just to give that extra little layer, as you can see, and that's going to go straight onto the front of my card. Just pop that, and I'm not sort of measuring any of this, it's just leaving a border off to the left there. Make sure it's nice and flush at the top. You can always trim the bottom off if you want to. That's going to pop off to one side. I'm going to stamp my image here. I've got my polished pink to hand. And polished pink is quite a strong pink, so I'm just going to grab a scrap bit of paper, stamp that off, and then have that sort of second generation stamping on the inside. So that can pop into our card to add that in a moment. And then I'm then using this lovely rose image, and there's a couple of them in the stamp set, and again I'm going to do second generation stamping on this. Just to create a background, create your own DSP. And I'm just doing that off the edge of the paper as well. It always gives you a feel to have those edges covered. And on the other one I just kept it sort of quite round the edge, but this one I'm coming more into the centre. I'm just rotating the stamp as I go. And just filling that in on the edge there, and just, here you go. So as I say, you've just created a really simple little background piece there. Now what I want to do is actually stamp my other two images again. So I'm going to stamp these in Memento. So I've got some Memento black on the floor. Oh, lovely. Now, great. Now you'll see here, I mean, I always say you get it warts and all with me. So I've dropped that. Of course it's gone face down. So all I'm going to do to actually clean that is just run a piece of cardstock across the top there. That means it's going to take off any sort of flecks or bits of debris that it's picked up. I'm just going to need a little bit of basic white cardstock for these images as well. So just take a scrap that you've got to hand. I'm going to clean my stamp off first, because obviously I've just used that with some of our water-based ink. So just a quick scrub to clean it and dry it, and then it's just ready to use. And I've left a bit of a cap because what I'm going to do is obviously pop up my dies on those. So you've got the die to cut that out and to cut the lipstick. A little bit of tape around those just to hold them in place. Then just pop those through your die cutting machine, obviously remembering to change the sandwich over from the one that you've just used, because we were obviously doing embossing, and now I'm changing over to do some die cutting. So you're going to need a different sandwich, and we're not talking pastrami. So just pop those through, and then there we go. It's well embedded. Okay, and then to colour the colour those images, we've actually got a really nice sort of block one here. So this is, I've just stamped off with that, and then I'm just going to, it's kind of like sketching it in, just to give a bit of colour to it. Now with the other image, I thought it was an ideal opportunity to use some of our Stampin' Blends. So I've got some polished pink here, I've got my smoky slate light and dark, and my basic black dark as well. So I'm going to use my light first for this section here. I'm going to come in, get rid of the debris, I'm a messy crafter. Come in with my dark smoky slate, and I'm just going to come around that top edge and the bottom there, and I'm also going to come all the way across that next section. Then I'm just going to take my brush tip end and just blend those in very slightly like that. And then for the bottom, I'm using my dark smoky slate again for the whole of that. Then I'm coming in with my black, just where those shadow lines are. I do tend to die cut first, although it makes it a little bit more fiddly. I'm just using the lighter smoky slate here, just to add a bit of shading and blend that in. Because I find that otherwise I'll do some what I think is lovely colouring, and then lo and behold, I should have used my dark one there. I'll die cut it and I'll miss die cut it, so there we go. That's why I do it this way around. And then I'm just going to use my polished pink on the top there. And you will notice with these, when you first use them, they come out really fluorescent, and you think, gosh, those are never the right colours. But surprisingly, once they dry, they do dry to the sort of, well, not surprisingly, because you would expect it from Stampin' Up, but it just takes a moment for that to dry to the right colour. So, now I've just noticed I've got a nice smudge on there, so I'm just going to work out where's going to be the best way to cover that up, and I think I'm going to cover it up with my perfume bottle. Actually, would it be better? No, yeah, with my perfume bottle, I think. So I grab some dimensionals. I'm just going to pop dimensionals onto the back there of this bottle. Probably pop one in the top as well. And just play around, yeah. With those, I've got a nice, I'm going to try not to get my inky fingers all over. Might grab a wipe actually. There we go. Just try and de-ink my fingers. Right. Do the same on the back of our lipstick as well. A couple of those. And then one thing I haven't, here we go. So that's just going to pop under that corner. So I just sort of check positioning before I take the dimensionals off, or I try to remember to, because otherwise I end up in a right pickle. There we go. And there's my sentiment. And actually what I've done is I've already pre-cut one of the lovely label die cuts. And I'm just going to run around the edge of that with my polished pink, just to give it a bit of a border. I'm just using the stitching on the edge there as a guide. And it's just, you could ink it if you wanted to, use a bit of sponge, a bit of a blending brush. I just thought that worked quite well. And I've got some polished pink ribbon here. So I'm just going to cut probably about sort of 6 inches or thereabouts, perhaps 5 inches, not quite as much. And fold that and pop it behind. So just Stampin' Seal Plus is great for adding a bit of ribbon. And I don't want too much showing above or below really. There we go. So just come in and snip your ribbon just to even that off as well. Okay, so I'll add a bit of adhesive to the back there. Add onto our layer. I will be sorry to see polished pink go. I think this is such a lovely pink. And it's not quite as bright as Magenta Madness, which for me is more of the fluorescent kind of pinks. But you know, with all the, I have to say there are some lovely colours coming. So if keep your eyes peeled. I'm deliberately not sharing too much of the new catalogue yet because I think there's, you know, we've still got some time, you know, before this one disappears. And I always think it's a real shame to kind of show you things that you can't buy just yet. If you know, otherwise, I don't know about you, but you know, if I see something and I like it, I want to be able to buy it right away. So I'll give you a few sneak peeks once I get my stuff. I'm early on, I'm waiting for my order, really sad. I check on a daily basis, has it been dispatched yet? No, but there we go. So I'm going to pop my panel in the centre there. And then I'm going to add some dimensionals just on the outer edge of this piece, because obviously it's going to overlap with the with the side of this panel. So if I just add, oh, I haven't even stamped it. Okay, well in that case, let me show you then what I'm going to do. So I'm going to add that there. I'm going to grab myself another die cut shape, and I'm going to just quickly stamp on that. I knew it was all going too well. It wouldn't be one of my videos without some kind of mistake, would it? There we go. So you can do one of two things. What we can actually do is we can actually trim that down. So if you come just inside the stitching now, so if you do it just slightly inside, and that should then, I'm just going to pop that up on a dimensional as well, just to give it a little bit more lift. Like so. Add my inner layer, a little bit of Tombow, and we're all done. So if you want to hop onto my blog or my shop at heidismith.stampinup.net and grab yourself some of these items before they disappear, please do, and don't forget to use the host code. So there we have a bit of rich raspberry and some fresh freesia, team purple, both of them, or slightly more pinky. Which do you prefer? Do let me know, and come back and see me again soon. Please hit the subscribe button, it does make a difference, and also subscribe to my blog and you'll know when I post again. So thanks for watching, bye now.